And good evening, everybody. This is Cruz, the Beast from the East, and you're watching Cruise Inc. Radio 102.8 live. It is Sunday evening at 8:02 p.m. Eastern Standard Time here in the Cap City, and currently it's 52 degrees here in the Cap City. Overcast skies with rain. It's been a cloudy and wet, cool Sunday. Hope that you've had a great Sunday and that you relaxed with us. It's been a while since we've actually broadcast on a Sunday. I don't think I've broadcast on a Sunday since I was on Blog Talk Radio. So it feels good to be back with the Sunday audience. As always, we have a good segment lined up for you tonight as we continue our special broadcast interviewing a number of local candidates that if you've been watching us over the last several weeks, we've had with us on Cruise Inc. Radio Live has been some of the mayoral candidates. We've had Alexis Rogers here with us. We had Kim Gray with us. Also, big announcement this upcoming Thursday. We're going to have the incumbent Mayor LeVar Stoney is going to be with us here live at 7 p.m. on Thursday, October the 29th. So you want to make sure that you tune in to Cruise Inc. Radio 102.8 live. You're going to be able to watch it here on the Richmond VA Things to Do page, or we're going to be also broadcasting on our Cruise Inc. Radio Facebook page and our Cruise Inc. Radio 102.8 TV YouTube page. So we're going to have full coverage for the mayor. You guys want to make sure that you're tuned in. Also, we've had for the city council rather, but the school board, we've had Dana Sally Allen on. And tonight we have another city council person, that candidate rather. He's running in the 8th district, and we want to welcome to the show Mr. Regie Ford. Reggie, how are you doing tonight?
Doing fantastic. Thank you for having me on, and thank you for the wonderful work that you're doing. I really appreciate it being on Cruise Inc. Radio.
Well, we certainly appreciate having you, Reggie. We and like I said, in the 9th hour, man. We got 9 days to go before the election. Of course, early voting has been taking place, and they say basically nationally. I think no, here in our area, over 50 million for Virginia have already voted. That's a lot of voting, man. What do you take away from the fact that a lot of people are doing early voting? You think it's the importance of the race, or you think it has a lot to do with the pandemic, reading people are getting out a lot earlier?
Great question. I think what's the key thing? There are three things to it, but I think the most important thing, they open up giving you more days to come out and vote. It's the opportunity to come out and vote. You know, instead of the one day, November the 3rd, or if you are absentee, they opened it up for weeks. And when you do that, you give people an opportunity to come. It's been, I know Hickory Hill was open yesterday. A lot of people come, but before that, Laburnum, because I went and voted in Laburnum 3-4 weeks ago. So I think that is the main thing. It gives people the opportunity. Of course, we have to come out and vote because of what's going on with the country. I mean, I haven't seen anything this unprecedented with what's going on with the country. So I think that's bringing a lot of people out. But there is one misnomer. I don't want to say a misnomer. Is there something? Most people think that the presidential election is the most important to them. Your local election is the most important to you. Now, I'm not saying don't vote in one and vote in the other. We need to vote in all. But your everyday movements, that starts with your local election. And so I'm glad of that. So even in our off years, we need to come out and vote. Good question.
Absolutely. I agree with you. A lot of times you hear people complaining about things going on in their locality, but you ask them if they voted, for in the mayor's race or the city council race, or even when things are going on in the school board, because those races generally are in concert with each other, and they say no. Then if you have not voted in your local races, again, as you indicated, they control basically our everyday movement. If you don't get involved in the General Assembly, which many of the laws are made here in the Commonwealth of Virginia. So I totally agree, man. People need to stay engaged because, as I've been saying all weekend, and I'm not the founder of the statement, but our vote is our voice, and you have to continue to vote in order to have a voice. Reggie, tell us a little bit about you, man. I know you're married, and also you've been a part of a political group for a long time. Tell us about that political group that you've been a part of. It's one of the oldest establishments, I understand.
Absolutely. The Richmond Crusade for Voters. I was the president for Richmond Crusade for Voters 2015. That was, and what made make me get all warm and fuzzy inside is because of how the organization was birthed and what the organization meant. It started in 1956, birthed out of the Brown versus Board of Education to help Black people get out and vote and to encourage them to get out and vote because prior to that, all those Jim Crow laws and just so many different laws that was hindering Black people to vote. But one thing that I really liked about the Crusade for Voters, they had what's called Get Out to Vote, voter registration, and voter education. And the reason I liked that so much yesterday, as you mentioned, there was um, voting yesterday at Hickory Hill. And there were a lot of people out there voting yesterday, but a few of the people didn't know anything about the two amendments that were on the ballot, and some people didn't even know what district they were voting in. Now, I don't
Mhm.
blame them. I really don't. I blame these local organizations and I blame these politicians who are not doing their due diligence. And one of the things that we did when I was the president of the Richmond Crusade for Voters, with education, we made sure that everyone knew what those amendments were because they have all this funny language and you don't know, and people just say, "Hey, vote yes" or "vote no." And so, and I don't want us to have to go by what somebody else says, and we don't even know what we're voting for. So that was one of the biggest things that really took out of Richmond Crusade for Voters, and we did it when I was there, and I implore that today when I'm talking with constituents.
You're absolutely right, man. When I was looking at the two amendments, and I've heard Democratic Democratic delegates and senators actually promote both. But when you really look at it, and I think it was Joe Morrissey I was talking to yesterday. I did an interview with him. He said, "Look, if you leave it as is, what's going to happen is that whoever's in power gets to draw the districts, and I think it's called gerrymandering.
Mhm.
And so for 10 years, if the Republicans are in power, of course they're going to make sure that things are uh, drawn that's going to benefit them if the Democrats are in power. So he said that we need this bipartisan commission. And I'm not telling anybody, what to vote, but it kind of broke it down and made sense. Either it's going to, every 10 years, it's going to flip flop and we're going to have a lot of rezoning, or we can leave it up to some people that have a mixture of citizens where we have a vote about and input on this, along with those people that's going to be on that commission. So the language, as you said, man, it was so construed, it made it difficult to tell you, well, should I vote yes or no on this?
Exactly. And Joe is right. And you hear from both sides. You hear some Democrats say yes, some Democrats say no. Some Republicans say yes, some Republicans say no. It's basically like he said, if we leave it what's in place now, who's ever in power at that time is going to be the person to draw the line. Now, there's a guy named Brian Cannon. I'm not sure if you know Brian, but definitely Brian he's over. He led a committee that for the last, I don't know, since I was a president of the Richmond Crusade for Voters on this actual what happened. So I called Brian. I said, "Hey, Brian, explain this to me so I can figure out what's going on." But I can definitely, if you had Brian Cannon, would be definitely a great person to come on, take questions, and he can tell you this thing inside and out because he's been working with for the last 5, 6, 7, 8 years.
When I look also, and this is another thing that I've been looking for when it comes to African American political analysts in the city. Now, we see the mainstream media, they have one professor from VCU, young guy, don't have no problems with him. But we don't have a lot of blacks involved that deeply into politics. Before we get into the regular questions, because I know you've been involved in politics for a long time and with the voting, Richard, how do we change that narrative where we get more people involved in studying the political, uh, uh, for lack of a better word, the political ground and makeup and everything that's going on to be able to wisely and smartly talk about these things?
Very good question. And I was going to kind of be calm today, but you poked me, and that's my passion right there. They got a brother at University of Richmond called Dr. Hayter. Dr. Hayter needs to reach out to him. He's very sharp at, knows a lot about politics. But before the show came on, like I was talking about this group, I have 50 strong. And let me tell you how that group, and this in its infant stages, that group started. Basically, I was thinking about what can we do, because we do not have the right representation. We don't know what's going on a lot of the times, and we're not being represented as well. So I was watching the video, and the video, it was a preacher, and he was talking about uh, the next 4 years. And most people think when we go and vote, the next 4 years is about Trump. And he says, it's not about the next 4 years, it's about the next 40 years when
Mm.
Trump has the opportunity to appoint all these judges on the federal level, on the Supreme Court judge. And he was absolutely right, because those are the lawmakers. So if we have people in office or in the judicial system who do not look like us, who do not represent us, who do not feel what we feel or go through the things, how can they give an impartial a judgment? And I say that very gingerly, because I know I don't want people to think, oh, it's blacks against white. It's not. There are many people who have different colors, ethnicities, and who support people of color. But there is something inherent about some of us, well, most of us, that we tend to gravitate to something that we're familiar to, that something looks like. And the pictures that been painted about young black men and brown men on TV can change or skew the thought process of someone making a decision about you. So we have to get our young people involved. If you saw yesterday, a couple of people, I got a few people on my team are young kids that are in high school. And they would I was just talking to them, and they had big issues. They said, we want to change the Hickory Hill Community Center. We need a place to go to. We want to have after school program. Mr. Ford, tell me about this. And what does this city council do? And can we help? That's what we do. We need to embrace them and talk with them. But that group I was mentioning, you 50 strong, that's exactly what we're doing. We're going across the nation, and we're getting brothers from all walks of life. You don't have to have a degree. You can be straight out of jail. We just want to make sure that we come together and present a positive attitude to help black and brown brothers. And it's called 50 strong. That's a very good question. And we definitely need to be in those positions so we can make some decisions.
Absolutely, Reggie. It's ironic that we're talking along this. I know this encompasses a lot of things, because I was telling the young lady that was running for Mayor, Tracy McLean. I said, unfortunately, you're being outspent, outmaneuvered in this race, but you cannot give up, because simply the race may be over, but the fight isn't over. And so I was encouraging her that no matter what the outcome of the race is on November the 3rd, is to stay engaged, especially for the African American community, community of brown people. Because I was talking to a young man, he approached me as I know him kind of like on a personal level, and he was sharing with me, Reggie, that 12 years ago, he was involved in a domestic dispute.
Mm-hmm.
And the 911 call that came in was from his partner. And she told the police that virtually he had a weapon, that he was dangerous. And so when they responded, you know how they respond, especially with us with the weapon. Right. I mean, there's a great disparity here. And we see it every day, how they respond to our white counterparts that have a weapon versus a black or brown person with a weapon. Well, fortunately, they didn't kill him. But when he did go before the courts, they found him guilty based off that 911 call. The man spent 12 years in jail, only to find out during his divorce decree that his former wife then put in the deposition that he did not strike her or the kids.
Mm.
He spent 12 years. 12 years. He missed his children's life, going to football games, doing all those things based on the fact that one, he couldn't afford proper representation. Two, at that time, they weren't trying to probably investigate that. And then when he's been going back trying to get his record, get that arrest, right, overturned, and then his record expunged. But even when he went down to Chesterfield, here we go. I want everybody to know this, what I said, Chesterfield, that there was no, even though the major and one of the investigators said, yeah, it's here that she actually filed a false police report. And you would think automatically that because of that document, and her in a because if they can lock Bill Cosby up for deposition, certainly they should have went back and talked to her about filing a false police report. But my point was, Reggie, is that again, you're right, man. We have to look at that 40-year reign, because whoever is sitting on the Supreme Court when it comes to the things that are going to impact us the most, like our voting rights, sentencing equality, and all the things that, again, when, as they said, when I think it was Malcolm X said that when white folk get a cold, we get the flu. It impacts us greater than it would any other community. So I want to, first of all, applaud you and commend you on what you and the 50 Men Strong are doing and what you have been doing as a part of the Richmond Crusade for Voters. Man, you've been in the trenches a long time.
You know what? I appreciate that. And I want to pick up on something you said. You definitely right about I was before. Well, no, this is during the Crusade for Voters, and I tell people I had a group. Another thing that I started called United City right here in Richmond, started in the 8th district, and Keith Hickson, a good friend of mine, we started that, and so many black men were killed. I don't know which black man was killed at that time, but that is what we said. Hey, we got to do something. So we did it. And we went, first one we did was in the 8th district. And I wasn't even living in the 8th district then. Did it in the 8th, went to, the next one was in the 5th, the next one was in the 6th. And the goal was to go to every district and talk about it. And we had the police, and Sergeant Alameen came and she talked about that. And what made me think of that, when you said you was talking with McLean, the one who's running, she's outspent. I'm outspent right now as running for the 8th district. But you're absolutely right. We can't give up the fight. We can't. No matter what the outcome comes, if you love your community and you work with it, you still have to go through it. I tell people all the time, I was doing work before political stuff for years. I was in the military, got my Air Force shirt on now. I've been doing work in the community. And my passion will not leave, win or lose. It doesn't leave after that. And we most certainly have to do that. Something else you said made me think about this. I do a lot of reading, and I read something. This is one of the things that we truly, truly, truly have to do in our community. It was talking with this guy. Matter of fact, it was a movie, and they would negotiate with the people about some deal. And the guy was saying, I'm not worried about getting rich right now. I want my grandchildren's grandchildren to grow. This is what the plan I'm putting in place is for the next 100 years.
Right.
And sometimes we don't see that. We don't. We're looking for the immediate, but that's generational wealth. When he said, and it was just amazing. I'm putting this together for my grandchildren's grandchildren's grandchildren.
Exactly. When you look at your Sam Waltons and your Bill Gates, they couldn't spend the amount of money that they made. They have set up a legacy in terms of, as you said, generations from now, their kids and grandkids and kids from after that will be in a position to win. and we got to start doing the same thing. Man, we I know this is kind of off the beaten path, but I want to take the moment because we got listeners and got people watching, and I know that you guys have heard a lot about the political scene, but this is a part of it because if we don't start turning the tide now, our black and brown young women and young men are going to forever be behind the eight ball. And I started this radio station, Reggie, not because of something I wanted to accomplish, but I wanted to be a legacy long after I'm gone, man. I want this continue to be like a BET. It's something that people can look at down the road and say, okay, this is an unbiased radio station that goes after the truth and that we are fair with people. And that's why it was important for me to have you here tonight to talk about, your platform, your way, and let people hear what you have to say. I was approached yesterday about not being fair in my reporting or whatever, and I reached out just like I finally got in touch with you. So I want to say this and go on record right now. Regardless of what my personal political choices may be, and under this hat, I have a responsibility as a media person to reach out to everybody that's in a race. Now, if you don't respond to me, that's not on me. So again, my job is to try to give everybody a platform and for you to be heard. And again, man, I know we kind of, as black men, we kind of get that barbershop talk.
Yeah, I'm about to say the barbershop. I said it's the barbershop talk. You're right. You're right.
Yeah. So Reggie, let's talk about, man, some of the things on your platform here. And we're gonna ask some questions, and for everybody that's listening, what we did, and again, being fair to everybody that we bring on board, we wanted to ask some of the same questions so people can compare their answers side by side and not target anybody or show any type of favoritism or whatever. We give everybody a chance to ask the same question. Let's talk about, because City Council is very involved in terms of with the school board. What is your platform and what do you see as a part of helping to turn some things around when it comes to education here, especially teacher retention and graduation rate?
So a couple things with that. It's horrific where our school is right now. But I don't think the blame lies specifically on school board or our teachers or our superintendent. I think everyone needs to get involved. However, I do think we've made some bad decisions. And a couple of the bad decisions I think we made with number one, with thinking that we throw the money at a situation that's going to solve everything. We do have to attract teachers, and we have to attract we have to make sure that everyone has the same education. Let me tell you what I mean. I live in 23224 zip code. That's South Side. Someone in 23227, we're doing them a disservice too. Now, even though that school is a lot better than when Holden School is over there, excellent school, everything is good. But those people over there, you think about it, they are getting shafted just like us because they cannot move to the south side of Richmond because the schools or the teaching is not as good as it is across town. Now, how is that? How that you live in a city, you pay the same taxes, you got the same service, same mayor, same city council, everything is the same, but you're suffering. So what we have to do, we need, the only thing that should hinder a person from moving to a different locality in Richmond is the proximity to their job. Let's just say, oh, I don't want to move there because that's too far from my job. Not because it's killing over here, not because there's no grocery store, or no bank or nothing. That's the reason. Now, I said all that because I think all of that encompasses the school. We have to start. My platform is the community. I came to Richmond 21 years ago to a company off of Jeff Davis, and I was on a team that went to different places to turn around organizations and turn around companies. And the first thing it starts with the community. But first you have to have a leader who's engaging, who can do that. It starts with the community. If you look at over 23227, the people over there, it's a community. They start together, they work together, they care for each kid that go through that. That's what we need to do. Now, once we do that, we can attract better teachers or more qualified teachers. Two things, and I know I don't want to mess up all our time. One thing we need to do, when we have teachers who have retired, they're not under all that stress and having to teach to these certain standards that we have. Allow them to come back and mentor the newer teachers coming in. When you're a new teacher, new anything, going to a job, it's you on the job training, you're learning. But bring that older teacher back who retired, pay them, and now they're not under that restraint. I got to teach to this assessment test, and I got to teach that. Now they can be more free and they can teach. That helps out. Another thing, I'm in the mortgage industry. We have a lot of dilapidated houses. You can fix those houses up and that can be an incentive to a teacher coming in. You finish in college, you coming out, man, one of my bonuses, they're gonna give me a house, or I only have to pay half of, or whatever the case may be. You have to attract people. I read a study, and I'll let you move to the next question.
No, go ahead, man.
Because I can get long-winded, man. You're gonna cut me off because I get passionate about this. It was a study that most people tend to move to the city because they want, especially young people or people just coming out 30s, 20s, 30s, 40s, they want to be able to walk to a neighborhood diner. They want to be able to go and bowl. They want to have some activities, and that's why they can do that. Well, we don't have those activities that's pleasing and pleasant for people to go and do. Certain areas we do. Scott's Addition is like that now. Mm-hmm. Real nice. That's why Scott's Addition blew up like that. Everybody went there. The Fan, all of that. So we need to make sure we have those areas on the south side as well, so people can do that. Now you bring the teacher in, she's okay, I have a place to go, I feel comfortable, I'm gonna get a house, I'm gonna also get a mentor. So an older teacher who's retired. Now that your retention level goes up, which in teachers, you don't have to. Richmond starts off in the school with substitute teachers. Every year they start off with substitute teachers because they don't have enough teachers. So those are just three things. But if I had to pull one thing out of there, it's the community. Everything you're gonna hear me talk about tonight, you have to pull the community together.
Absolutely. I am inclined to agree with you, because when we had teachers back in the day that lived in the community, they knew your parents, and the whole level, you had a few bad apples, of course, but you did not have what we see right now. And I think that's why we're looking at a graduation rate, Reggie, that went from 75% in 2018 to 70% in 2019. And then, of course, as many have said, everybody's not college material. So we it used to be that you can go to vocational schools. I don't know how many vocational schools there are in the city of Richmond, but I do believe that every district should have a vocational school teaching, mechanics and carpentry, electrician and plumbing. Those are the things, again, that will help engage our young people. I used to deal with gang relations. I'm kind of long-winded. I used to be a preacher too, so let me kind of get to the point here. I deal with gang intervention and prevention for the Commonwealth's Attorney of Petersburg, and I was also in the school system at Meadowbrook, Blackwell, and also John Thompson, some of the toughest schools. Well, when I would talk to the young man about putting down his flag, and everybody that's been involved in gang gonna know what I mean, putting down your flag. So I know what I'm talking about. First thing he would say is, Ms. Sherman, I feel you. Right now this is how I'm taking care of my family. I'm getting some of the things. I think, what is it gonna look like? What do you have to offer me where other than a McDonald's job? Mm-hmm. Reg, what am I supposed to tell him? The only thing that I can give him is tell him to go to McDonald's, or I can tell him to go to Burger King. Why can't I tell him to call Regie Ford's plumbing, and Reggie can hook him up with an internship, so he can make now, instead of rather than $8 an hour with Regie Ford plumbing, he can maybe make $18 and $19 as an apprentice, get his journeyman's and get things. See, man, we got life so damn twisted here, trying to make everything overcomplicated. We need to get back to some of the basics of life, and then we would start to see some things. Man, that's a whole different show that me and you need to come back on as black
We
men
do, because
and
you
talk
got
about
me
how.
you got me fired, because I fired up, but you're absolutely right. 100. I took vocational school, vocational in high school, electrician, and I went in the military and electrician. What I learned in high school helped me to get my job that I got as an electrician in the military. So you're absolutely right. Absolutely right.
I want to tell everybody right now, if you thought this was going to be a boring show or whatever, we just going to talk about political stuff. Here's another brother that's running. I want you to call your mom, your dad, and tell a friend to tell a friend, because we're going to extend this a few more minutes. Tell them right now they need to tune in, because we're having some real talk here tonight, because sometimes every once in a while you have to put the politics aside and talk about what the hell is going on in the community. And I'd be damned. I started, people said, you just been in the South Side, the 8th District for 4 years. You damn right. I've been here for 4 years, and I plan on staying as long as I can to make a difference, because South Side, you get a lot of people saying a lot of negative things. There are a lot of good people in this district. And so, Reggie, we're going to get back to what I was saying, but man, I want to say this to you again, regardless of what happens, after November 3rd, man, we as black men need to stay engaged. And I'm going to open this platform up to you and your organizations to come by, man, when we got time to chop it up and talk about, not just talk about it. I get so damn tired of talking.
Oh,
I need some brothers that let's put our boots in the damn street and get out here and do the work. Because talking about it, we got a lot of people that pontificate and
right.
talk about stuff all day long. But it's time to put the boots on the ground and get out here and start making a difference. So, man, I'm sorry. Somebody said I want to put this comment up. They said, "Tell the truth."
No, you're absolutely right, and that's one of the things about while I'm running. I'm so tired of talking. We have to put action behind it, and I'm action oriented, and we definitely got to put some action. Got to step out there. Win or lose, you got to go. You can't be afraid. If we got too many people want to sit on the sidelines now. No, we got to move. We have to move. I'm like you. I'm not leaving. When I did the work I told you at United City, I was living in the 6th district, but I knew how the South Side was. Well, actually, I was on the other side in the 6th district of the river, but I knew how people thought of the 8th district. I'm in the mortgage industry. I do mortgages, and one of the things that upsets me the most is people talking about affordable housing, and that's what I do, low to moderate. What is affordable housing? And they throw this word around like affordable housing is everybody can afford. I had a lady come to me with 700 credit score, good credit score, but she only made $1,200 a month. She can't afford a house nowhere in Richmond. But there are things that we can do to put her in place. I used to work for SunTrust, and I sit on the board at SunTrust, and that board was called Fostering Home Ownership. And let me tell you what we learned on that board. We want to put people in homes, but we felt exactly what you and I are talking about right now. There were so many people who couldn't budget. So many people didn't have a bank account, didn't have a checking account, didn't know anything about credit. So we had to put the house part to the side and start working on financial literacy just to get them to that point. So when I hear people say, oh, I'm going to do this, I'm going to bring this, and I'm going to do this, they have no plan but a bunch of hollow words, and you just don't know how that just makes. I cringe when I hear those hollow words. That's when we have to move and go. I'm not laying down, regardless, like you said, whatever happened after November the 3rd, it's not the end of Regie Ford.
Hello, man. One of the things I taught in Meadowbrook was coping skills, and primarily coping skills was for the some of the kids that had learning deficiencies and whatever. But I'm an advocate. We need to have coping skills for all levels in the school, because one thing in that coping skills class is that we taught them how to write checks, You'd be surprised, man. The kids that don't know how to sign their name, they know how to
Exactly.
write their name, but they don't know how to sign their name.
Mm-hmm.
And could not read a handwritten letter, if you put it in front of them. Again, going back to the basics here, home economics. We learned a lot in home economics,
Mm-hmm.
how to budget and how to take care of things. I was reading something the other day. It says we need to replace algebra one
Mm-hmm. I
with
saw that.
some financial classes and stuff like that, real classes, man. So again, I'm with you, Reggie. Just because the election or whatever happens there, that don't mean I stop talking about the things that are going on
Mm-hmm.
real life. And you were talking about, that was a good segue, because that was the next thing we were going to talk about, was the affordable housing. I'd appreciate you, jumping in on that, because people think, again, as you said, just because you have the credit score doesn't mean that you're ready. There's a lot of responsibility with becoming a homeowner. You have your taxes, you got your upkeep, you got to
Mm-hmm.
try to talk about having a savings in case the water heater break, because you don't have the landlord anymore
Right.
if you're a homeowner.
Right.
The air conditioning system, all that. We need to be teaching people to be responsible homeowners, especially. And I'm not trying to play the race card tonight, but it's Black folk who really suffer the most, because guess what? When I used to watch Leave It to Beaver, and
Mm-hmm.
I'm not trying to be
Right.
funny, Ward Cleaver was teaching Wally and Beaver how to be responsible men. We teaching our kids how to twerk. We
Yep.
teaching them how to rap. We teaching them how to buy these damn expensive clothes, but we're
Mm-hmm.
not teaching them how to start a savings account. We're not teaching them about getting a 401k plan. We're not teaching about building something that's going to add value, instead of when you drive it off the lot, it loses 25% before you get to the next block.
Right.
Don't get me started tonight.
No, no, you're absolutely right. Let me give you two examples. One example, I was working with a young lady. Credit score was good. Her income was good. Figured everything. We got her down payment assistance. She had to bring like $3,000 to closing. She told me, my birthday is this weekend. I wanted to use that money for my birthday, and she did. She didn't buy the house. And it was her 30th birthday. It was her 30th birthday, and she wanted to use. I mean, she was serious. I mean, it was, and she didn't get the house. She did not get the house because she wanted to have her birthday party. And I'm like, wow, it's that, it's that, that's what we're going through, and I'm but that's one of the reasons I got into the mortgage industry, is to I always believe that land and home ownership is freedom if you do it the right way. Now, this is another story I'm gonna tell. I'm gonna try to cut it down. A friend and I, we were talking about it, and it goes back onto what you're talking about, Ward and Wally and V. If you look at, so let's say a white family and a black family. So typically the white person, they'll go buy a house and then they'll send their kid off to college and they'll refinance the house or pull the money out some sort of way and pay for the college for their child. So
Mm-hmm.
now when their child graduates from college at 23, 24, they don't have student loans. They don't have those debts. So typically what they do, they work for a little while, then they go and buy them a house. So by the time 26 or something, they have a house. 30 years later, 56, their house is paid off. Let's take the same black family. Mom and dad didn't refinance, or mom and dad may not have had a house, or just didn't have the wherewithal to do that. So now their child went to school and they have student loans forever and ever and ever. They finally buy their house when they get in their 50s or late 40s, where their same counterpart they went to school with is getting ready to pay their house off, refinance it, and start it again with their children. But the black family went there, and when I say this, I don't want anybody to say, "Oh, he's no." The same thing happened in my family. So let me say that it happened. So this is the same thing. And so by the time the black family buy their house, their kid is going to college, and guess what? They're getting student loans, and they're getting all this financial aid and all this out, and the cycle continues and continues. while the other person. Now let me put a disclaimer on this because I know a lot of white people out there who have student loans as well. But I'm
Right.
just speaking in general. That's how we stay behind. So we definitely have to catch up and listen and figure out. My mentor told me a long time ago, I swear I'll never forget this. Your current thinking has you in the position that you are in now. Just whatever you're doing, it's your current thinking. I know you think everything you're doing is right, but your current thinking. If you're in the messed up position, it's because of your current thinking. If you're in a great position, because of your current thinking.
Exactly. You know, Reg, career politicians piss me the hell off
Me too.
because they got a bunch of strategists and analysts telling them to use these talking points, to
Mhm.
use these bullet points. And like I said, it's a bunch of hollow words. What we need to get back is to politicians that understand the people rather than the party. I don't give a
Absolutely.
damn what party you're part of. You can
Mhm.
be a Republican, but if your platform matches uh, what's conducive for everybody, then
Mhm.
I ain't got no problem. I'll
Right.
vote across the line. I think what the greatest mistake that we have right now is people are basically they're more so about their party than the people. So, man, just listening to you, I can tell that you're not a party person, even though you might be a Democrat, or Republican, or whatever, or independent. What I'm hearing is a people person and not a party person. And again, that's excellent, man.
So you're absolutely right. So let me tell you this. So I'm a Democrat, but I get pissed off when people automatically assume I'm a Democrat. And when I ran for the House of Delegates, I ran as an independent because, and I'm with you too. So I'm gonna give you another example. When I was in the president of Richmond Crusade for Voters, and that is it's a nonpartisan organization, but it it's supposed to be it leans heavily Democrat, but it's supposed to be nonpartisan. When I was a president, I brought Democrats in there, Republicans in there, independents, libertarians. I bought everybody because I don't want people to think we're monolith. Oh, all black people are Democrats, or all black people gonna go straight down the ticket. I know they want us to do that, and people are gonna say, "Oh my God, when I got to vote, Reggie, that's gonna hurt you." It ain't about. I love my people. I love us, so I don't tiptoe around the tulips. So when it comes to saying what I need to happen, I get upset with people automatically. Even though I'm a Democrat, I upset, and I don't agree with everything Democrats say. I won't put that out there. I don't. I get upset when people automatically assume that because black people are supposed to automatically be Democrats. That burns me up.
We got a comment already that's coming in from one of our pages. I can't see the name right now, but it says the leader must lead the people. It starts with the elected leader. If you have an elected leader that is not transparent, engaging, and accountable, the people will perish. That's what we're seeing today.
Absolutely, absolutely. She hit a. I think it's somewhere in the Bible say where there's no vision, the people will perish. So she kind of got biblical on that, but absolutely.
Uh, and then we have another comment, man, for you. They said, I want to say awesome that, in terms of what we are talking about and the things that you have just mentioned here. So, again, we want to thank the people for being engaged with us. And we're going to try to get through here. We talked about affordable housing. Let's talk about police reform because, again, the city council would be involved in that. What is your vision and your take on police reform based on the current climate?
This is unprecedented what's going on right now. It's not unusual. It's just a highlight on it right now. It's been going on all along. So I have a 5-point plan with the police department, and one of the first things uh, I talk about, even though it's like number 5 on my plan, is qualified immunity. We have to get rid of qualified immunity. Let me give you a story I read the other day. You'll find out I'm a story guy. I'm in Toastmasters. I always telling stories. I was reading this paper, and this happened in D.C. It was a sister. She was out with her and her husband, or boyfriend, walking their dog. The police, they were chasing somebody. They got out, they opened up the door, and the police dog came and attacked her, just attacked her. And they was wrong. They were calling the dog off, all of that stuff. And went to court. She lost the court case because it just something happened. They say it was, but one of the things that they said that uh, the police got away or got off because of qualified immunity. That's because they operate under this level of it. So it happened. It was an accident. It was part of this, and so there are cops, and they have an opportunity to uh, uh, get a little leeway when it comes to that. No, they're cops. And I know they have a dangerous job, but they still have to follow the rules and follow the laws. So that's one plan. And I know when people say defund the police, and this is another thing. I don't believe in the defund. I think we need to right fund the police. Now I know what they mean when they say defund. They don't mean take money away from the police department. There's no police department. But when they first came out with their terms, people jumped up and down, and because people didn't know. We had some of our city council people run with that rhetoric before they even knew really what it was. They was running with it. We need to make sure that the funds are in the appropriate place. Our police men and women are police men and women. They're not social workers. They're not mental health workers. So we need to make sure some sort of way we can fund those areas with monies that we have. Now, it was something a good friend of mine. He's my barber, and he said this, and we were talking about this. He said, uh, "You know how we talking about we need to retrain the police so they can learn how to de-escalate situations." And I said, "Yeah, I think we need to do that." And we got to talking, but we also need to learn how to have some of our children, our kids. We need to teach them how to cope with certain things so they can de-escalate or don't fly off at the handle with certain issues. So and after I did some research on that and I was looking at it, that is an issue that both sides, we definitely need it in the police side, but we also need to make sure that we de-escalate across the board. Now, I don't mean because it's going on now, and I think it's a bad thing, but I know we have to do it when black men or black women have to teach their sons not to do this and not to do that to cop because you have to get home. I know we have to do that. It's a shame that it's a certain segment have to be taught something differently from another segment just so you can make it home safely. But I do think we need to de-escalate a couple of things. Next thing I want to talk to you about implicit and explicit bias. So, many of the well, I don't want to say many, some of the cops, well, I am going to say many of the police people in the police department, they have the explicit bias because that's how they feel about certain people. Now the reason I say many, I don't mean all of them, because if you are a cop that is with another cop who's showing explicit bias, you are just as complicit. So that's why I was teetering with the word many. No, even though you may not feel that way, but if you allow your partner to do that or feel that way, you're just as complicit. So we have these explicit biases that he's a black guy, he has a hoodie on. When I take my hair down and I don't have a suit on and I'm in the store, I'm just Reggie the thug looking black guy. But when I have my hair pulled back and it's done, I got my bow tie on. Oh, I'm yeah. So yes, we totally two different people when we switch up what we do, and that's a shame. That is, oh man, that is embarrassing. I'm gonna say one more thing. Well, let me tell you my other part. So I got one. Need to demilitarize the police, so we don't need to be going out there looking like the military. We need to make sure that we do that. But I'm gonna give you one more example. I was talking with a friend of mine, and we were just talking, and he was like, "There's no racism." He just didn't believe it. He said, "There's no racism out there." And we got to talk. I'm a runner, so I'm running, and we running talking, and we passed by some cars, and you can hear them lock their doors. I said, "What do you think that was?" They just locked their doors. It was obvious they saw two black guys running, and they locked the doors. Another thing we were talking about he was, I don't know how it came up, but he was afraid to put it. We talking about putting your hands in your pocket while you're in the store. I said, "Why you do that?" "I don't know." I said, "No, you do it because you don't want them to think that you're stealing." But if you see a white kid, they unconscious, they don't care. They'll dig all in their pocket and do whatever. That is part of something that's been taught to you, and it's in your head to protect you. And you don't see it as being part of racism because it's part of your everyday thinking. But that is what society has done to you. So no one may not be coming out calling you jigaboos and all this in public, but something is embedded. It's in your DNA while you're thinking that way. That's what a lot of this stuff is talking about when we're talking about racism. But I love cops. I'm gonna be honest with you, I do, because if something happened to me, I'm calling the cops. Do I think they're all bad? No, I don't think they're all good as well. Like I don't think all black people bad and all black people not good.
Right.
We have problems in each area. We just need to address the problems. But when you're putting people, like I talked about earlier, when you for the next 40 years, if you're putting people in positions that we don't control, they can't think about you. Now that's different here in Richmond because everybody from city council to chief, everybody is black. So we need to make sure we got people in position, the right people in position. I remember Chuck D said that every brother ain't a brother because of his color.
Well, exactly, man. Rich, we're gonna knock out this last, man. We've been along this line and everything that we talked about, economic and community development. Because as you stated in the beginning, everything that your platform on starts with the community. So as we wrap up tonight, and I kind of had a feeling, man, when we were talking about how long it was that we were going to be on here. It always happens, man. I don't care. We can plan for 20 minutes and it's going to stretch out because when you get to talk about the issues and concerns of everyday life, that's not a sound bite right. that you can take in about 10 or 15 minutes. That's what they do on Channel 12 and Channel 13. Right. They give you sound bites. But here you will get the full story, the end the backstory on that. So let's talk about the economic and community development in terms of what it would look like in your vision.
All right, I'm gonna try to hit this quickly. So when I asked you how long it was gonna take, I was just warning you that I was long-winded. So a couple of things, 3 things I'm gonna try to hit on if I think about. So my platform is asset-based community development. So what that means is we in the 8th district and people always want us to go and beg everybody else to come over here and help us out. Come on, help the poor 8th district out. And then they say, oh, we have these opportunity zones. So let me explain to everyone what opportunity zones is. And it sounds good on the surface, but it can be good, but it can be dangerous. So opportunity zones, the government will designate low to moderate or area where they need development. We can come in and help you all out. So what they do, they have these millionaires or billionaires, they come out. And so instead of you having to pay capital gains when you sold this stock or you sold this building, I tell you what you can do. You go over to put your capital gains money, your 20, 30, 40, 50 million dollars, and you put it over here on the south side. And you can build over here on the south side and if you help build them up. And if you put your money over here, you don't have to pay taxes on it. So guess what they come and build? They come and build an apartment building. They build a house, they build some stores, they build stuff. When you say, wow, we got this brand new shiny apartment building. So he built his 40 unit apartment building. And guess what? You're paying him the rent. He's getting that money, taking it back to Henrico where he lives. But that 10, 20, 30 million he used to build that building, he's not paying any taxes on it. That's a big loophole. So guess what? Like you mentioned Malcolm X, earlier. So what's happening is they're taking your money from your community, which making your community poor and poorer, and taking it back to their community and making it richer and richer. So when asset-based community development work, you need to identify people in the 8th district. And I talk about this, and you just mentioned it too. We got people in the 8th district that are engineers, but that don't have a degree. We got people that know how to cook that does not have a culinary degree. We have people that know how to sew who's not a seamstress or a seamstress degree. I don't know if there's one out there, but what I mean by that, we have so much talent here, and that's our asset. And we collectively put our assets together. So when Bob comes from Henrico or somewhere else, want to build a building, you tell Bob, hey, Bob, we got contractors over here. So if you want to come build, they need to help with the development. They need to be part of the of the building. And then once the store or whatever comes up, they need to work in there, and not as a bagger, but be the manager. So once you have leverage, you can do that. But what we currently do now, we say, oh, guess what? I got Bob, who has all the money in the world. He's going to come and help you out. He's going to build this. And guess what? He's going to put a roof on your house. And then he's doing that just to get your boat or whatever. But he's going to he's going to suck all that money out and take. So now that's the whole bad part of it. The good part is we can do this ourselves. We have some very talented people with some land in here. And people laughed at me when I said this. I said, we need to, it's going to sound crazy. We need to plant trees, need to pick up the trash. We need to pleasantly make the neighborhood look better. There was a study done, and it said the people in deprived areas have worse health problems and stress problems because, one, when they come home, you're looking at the blighted neighborhood. So that right there, you don't even know it. Even if you're getting used to it, it makes you feel down. Right. Then if you have a bad neighborhood, you won't even come outside and walk or go in your neighborhood because guess what? You're afraid something's going to happen. So now it cuts down on your exercise. So what we need to do all that, we need to make sure we access, do that asset-based community development. And what that is called asset mapping. So we can find out who's the babysitter in the neighborhood, who's this, who's that. And we use the people in our neighborhood. Next thing we do, if any developer comes in, we don't have to have some outside help. I'm not saying we don't, but we have a leverage. You're not going to dictate all the rules. We are going to dictate the rules. You either take it or leave it because we have the land, we got the people, and we got water access, and we have highway access. This is like Africa over here. The richest land with all the minerals and stuff. We have it right here in the 8th district, but it's not being utilized. It's been sold off, and so we need to make sure we do that. Now, I wrapped all that up real quick because I see we're coming up on an hour, but that is whenever you want to do this again, man, just let me know. I really appreciate this.
Yeah, I was about to say, Reggie, we got to come back, man, because I love having conversations where we are addressing and leading our people in the right direction. And I'm very passionate about it. And again, and this is what I'm going to say as we wrap up here. It's funny that people, I operate this station. I basically operate it out of my pocket. And I hear people talking about, black media. They don't get the monies and stuff that they take over to the white stations. You're right. Mm-hmm. It's still that, and I'm going to say it because I can say it, that people still have that mentality that the white person's ice is much colder than our ice. What I'm going to tell you right now, I'm going on record for after this airs, this station, what we do, the 30 members, I want to shout out all 34 members of Cruise Inc. radio team across the country. We do a damn good job trying to with the resources that we have to make sure that we have a quality program. If you notice, Reggie, and I have to say this, man, when you look at CNN, don't they have that scrolling at the bottom? Don't they have your name and all the other stuff I've been doing? So damn it, don't tell me that our show or black people don't know how to do things just as well. Look at Roland Martin is a perfect example. I'm trying to mimic that man's show because that man got an awesome platform. And what you just said is that everybody may not have a degree in certain things, but they have the expertise and the experience that is worth more than any damn degree. We got to come back. And man, I want to tell you this, no matter what happens on November 30th, stay in that fight, brother. I am a soldier with you, man. We're going to come back. We're going to have a complete forum. We may have to do a monthly or a weekly forum on this where we talk about some real stuff. You bring some of the other brothers with you and not only talk about it. Let me say this right here. Get out, and I want to be out. Like I said, I can't do it all by myself, but I want to get out here with some men like you that are compassionate and tired of talking about it, tired of the sound bites, and want to get out here and make real changes because whether you on the north side, whether you on some of the other Mosby courts, Gilpin court, all those courts, and then all over here in Southside, we need to unite so that, again, like I said, it was one and I'm gonna leave you with the closing words here. But as a preacher, I used to take one thing. I would take one pencil, and I would stand in front of the congregation, and I would break it. Then I would take probably about 20 or 30 pencils and put them together. And we used to ask probably some of the strongest men in the congregation to come and see if they can just take those 20 or 30 pencils and snap them. And my point is, one person you may be able to break, but when you got more people of that same passion and that are bundled together, you're not going to break that. So I just want to say, man, we need more people like you out here, passionate and doing it, not because of any shape, form, or fashion, but simply because you care.
You know what? Thank you for having me, and I appreciate that. And I'm going to say two things to follow up with you on that. So a lot of brothers, if you go to my Facebook page, you'll see I did a video with the Broad Rock Tennis Association. We got an all-black tennis association. I didn't even know about it. It was brothers, and I played tennis, and I did some. And the last thing, I know you see the big fancy cars with the big wheels on it. The brothers came out and supported me. I talked to them brothers. You know what they do? They do more work in the community than the politics. They do food drives. They do the homeless shelter. They do Thanksgiving dinner. But you know, most society will look at them and say, "Oh, look at those guys. They're drug dealers. They're this. They got tattoos." These brothers do more work in the community, and no politician will get out there. I'm on video with them. I said, "This is what I'm talking about." I will work with them and go in the trenches with them any day because they are doing what politicians, and they're not even bragging about it if I didn't ask the question. So, hey, thank you, man. Yeah, I'm going to definitely hook back up with you. We got each other's contact information, man. I really enjoyed this. Best interview, best time I've had, and no joke, since I've been running, and we've been having a ton of interviews and stuff. I really like this. You're a great host. You really make a person feel comfortable. Thank you, and thank you for what you're doing and your team.
Well, thank you, Reg. And go ahead and tell everybody where they can find you at, man, your contact information. And also, I'm going to, I'll tell you this off air, man. Go ahead.
So, okay. You can go directly to my website. You'll see who I am. Same thing you heard here, you're going to see on my website, regieford.com. I'm different. I spell Reggie with one G, REGIEFORD.com. Regie Ford, I really appreciate your support. November the 3rd, or you can vote Monday all the way to Saturday at Hickory Hill at 3000 East Belt Boulevard. I really appreciate your support. If you want to help out, feel free to contact me as well. My contact information, email, everything is on there. I really appreciate everything. It's regieford.com. Reggie with one G, REGIEFORD.com. Thank you.
Thank you, Reg. And let me say this, man. I used to feel ashamed to do this, but I noticed that, again, going back to Roland Martin asked his listeners, he said, look, if you like the platform, you want to see us keep doing this, go to our website and donate. He said, because, we don't have large sponsors. So I'm asking people, I don't have big sponsors. I have two clients right now. So if you want us to continue this platform, you like what we do, you like the fact that we're just real people, go to cruiseinkradio.com right now. I don't care if you donate $1 or whatever it may be. You better believe that dollar, again, is going to go to this show and making sure that we can continue to do that. So, again, whatever it may be, whatever you feel like, whatever God blesses you with and you want to share, go to cruiseinkradio.com and listen to some great music. We're on 24/7. We got gospel. We got smooth jazz. We have talk shows. We have, again, R&B. So we got everything that mainstream radio has right here, and you can listen to it anytime, anywhere, through your phone, no matter what you're doing. So, yeah, a black station is doing this, and we're doing it right here in Richmond. I don't give a damn if you ever don't call my name. Just understand we got a quality product. We're bringing on quality people like Reggie and many others, and we care, and we're going to keep doing this. And if I have to keep working till I'm 90 to support this platform, then that's what I'll do. But again, y'all can make it a lot easier on it, brother, by just going to make a small donation. Reggie, man, appreciate you so much. Don't go anywhere. I'm going to close out here, everybody. Thank you for joining us tonight. We've had a great time talking to Mr. Regie Ford. He is running for the 8th District City Council. You can see the brother, again, has this passion and really a good brother. We're going to be talking more with him. As I always say, whatever comes when the heart reaches the heart, let somebody know how much you care about them today before it's everlasting too late. Flowers and all that may be well at a funeral, but if I don't know you care about me while I'm living, I won't care about your flowers when I'm dead. Have a great one, everybody. This is your boy Cruz, the Beast from the East. Love you guys.